Merry ho ho, everyone! As I'm assuming you can notice by the title, this is one of our Christmassy video essays that come out on a Monday in December. You can probably already hear we're going to do a quick disclaimer. I am losing my voice. It comes, it goes, but we're going to persevere. We're going to push through together. If you notice it getting a bit croaky, a bit crackly, please excuse it, I beg. Also, I don't know if you'll be able to hear because of the mic, but the wind is howling outside. We're in a storm, we have some kind of storm. I don't know the name of it, but hopefully the mic mitigates you being able to hear that one. Today we're going to be talking about consumption at Christmas, and as such, I'm going to be pulling on my own experiences of Christmas as a kid and growing up. Not everyone's Christmas looks the same, and not everyone experiences Christmas the same way that I do and I have. And since Christmas is a time where we should come together and care for one another, I am going to leave a couple of links down in the description to charities that help people who are struggling at Christmas. It is up to editing me to find those links, but it will most likely be to do with young people, queer youth, and mental health because those are the issues close to my heart. When I was younger, we did Christmas to excess. We had gift bags that acted as our stockings that would be full of toiletries and puzzle books and fluffy socks and chocolates. And we would go into our parents' room at 6 a.m. and open them up on their bed before even going down to tackle what was under the tree. And then we would come down the stairs, and to my child brain, it was like half of the living room was covered in shimmering wrapping paper that had come out on an avalanche from under the tree. One year, I remember coming down to these two massive gifts in the middle of the living room. That was the year that we got beanbags that we would sit on to play the Wii, or that our childhood dog Lily would try and steal as her new bed any opportunity that she got. Another year, I think I amassed about 26 books. Now, this was about half my lifetime ago, and books were marginally cheaper then. And it was the year that I was hyper fixated on getting back into reading. I'd loved it as a kid, and I kind of went away from it as I was growing up. At 11, I fell back in love with it, and I was trying to branch out after reading Twilight and The Hunger Games. So my Christmas list was very book heavy that year. But I just remember the pile of books was so big that when I was sat in my desk chair, which is where I would read, I would have them piled up next to me and I wouldn't have to even lean down to grab the next one. It was a reader's dream. And as the years have gone by and I've got older, I've definitely prioritized asking for things that I need at Christmas. I'm a summer baby, so Christmas is a great time to stock up on a new winter coat if I need one because coats are expensive, or makeup bits I'm running low on. Whilst I've been at uni, Christmas has been a great time to get dresses for events or tickets for events paid for. Essentially, as I've got older, I've moved from quantity to quality at Christmas. But it's safe to say that my Christmas felt magical like a kid. It was like coming down to our own personal toy shop with our dad ready to assemble anything necessary. And I'm forever thankful for my parents who created that magic. They devoted themselves to making Christmas all about us when we were young. And it wasn't just in the gifts under the tree, but it was in making sure we pointed out all of the Christmas lights anytime we drove anywhere to help build that atmosphere around the holiday season. And whilst we weren't the biggest fan of carol services when we were forced to be in them at school, they would always be there and always turn up to watch us. Especially with the cost of living crisis in recent years and the 2008 recession, which squarely hit my childhood. I would have been about 6 at the time. I feel incredibly lucky for the childhood I was fortunate enough to have. And whilst a lot of the things I've said about may seem very consumer heavy, there were things we didn't invest as much into every year. We keep Christmas decorations until they break, other than when I overhauled everything to do with our Christmas decorations about 9 years ago to create a cohesive color scheme. And even then, we still have the baubles we purchased that year. We usually keep our trees maybe a year or two longer than we should. I praise the day that we got rid of the white Christmas tree that I remember as the first Christmas tree we had when I was a kid. We're only about 2 Christmas trees on from that now, and I'm 22. We have animatronic snowmen and light up decor that doesn't work anymore, so we just put them out as ornaments on the side. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the things we have are older than I am. And yes, we supplement each year where needed. If something's broken, we'll purchase something in its place. But we do not have a different theme or color scheme every year like I've seen some people post about on YouTube or TikTok. That just seems excessive to me. We don't have multiple trees, although one day I would love to because I love decorating the tree. Honestly, knowing how much Christmas decorations cost, because over the last 2 years of living alone, I've slowly been trying to acquire bits and bobs. I just can't believe how much people must be spending on these decorations every year to completely overhaul a theme, or how much covering multiple trees and ornaments must cost. But then again, it's the classic case of there's always going to be someone who does more than you, and there's always going to be someone who does less. To some, my Christmases as a kid would not only be excessive, but an unnecessary extravagance. Others may spend the total of what we spend on our entire family on just one single person. And there's no denying, whatever your budget, Christmas is a time of year where we all feel how expensive things have gotten. So in light of this, I want to talk about the financial strain of Christmas and the trend of underconsumption we're seeing all over TikTok, as well as considering the detriment of focusing on material things at Christmas, all from a girl who loves stuff. It feels like gifting and buying is at the center of the festive period. From Black Friday and Cyber Monday to Christmas campaigns, influencers talking about gifting sets from different shops, and the Boxing Day sales, which are the bane of the existence of any retail workers. Believe me, I've been involved with working them before. According to the Finder article, Christmas Statistics, What's the Average Spend in the UK? Brits are expected to spend an average of £596 each on Christmas gifts in 2024. The UK plans to spend £26.8 billion on Christmas gifts in 2024, up from £27.6 billion in 2023. And over the Christmas period, Brits are projected to spend an impressive $46.4 billion in total, including gifts, food, travel, and socializing. That's £923 per person. Obviously, we can only work on projected figures this year, but it's mind-blowing to see how lucrative the Christmas period is for the retail market, and that's only in the UK. Similarly, it's interesting to see that we're increasing our spending each year, even in the light of the cost of living crisis, where you may think that people would have begun to spend less. And there are multiple factors to the fact that people are spending more. Inflation is one that we'll see every year anyway. But is there also the possibility that we are just doing more and buying more each and every year to try and achieve the idea of a perfect Christmas we see in films or on social media? I'm definitely guilty of saying everything's so expensive when I'm in the checkout line to buy gifts. And I think we've all started to wonder whether at Christmas it should be quantity or quality that we're worrying about when it comes to gifts. Should we be focusing on setting a budget and spending up to that amount on someone, or instead finding the perfect gift that we think someone will love? And some people are left wondering how they're going to be able to afford Christmas at all. According to Go Henry last year, the average spent in the UK per child is £420. That's a lot of money before you even consider that people may have multiple children, they may have siblings and parents and in-laws to buy for, they may have office secret Santas and friends' white elephant parties. Similarly, that £420 per child isn't accounting for the costs of food and decorations or even gift wrapping. Now, I'm not a parent, so I can't talk on the experience of choosing how much you're going to spend on a child at Christmas, but I imagine it's quite a hard thing to decide. Do you go with spending a certain amount or buying a certain number of gifts? Do you want to find the perfect gift for your child, or do you want to recreate Santa's grotto? After all, I think it's only natural for people to want to give their children a magical Christmas, to either recreate what they had or perhaps give their child more than they had themselves. I've also seen parents discussing on TikTok that they worry that their child will discuss with their friends what they got for Christmas, and someone will feel like Santa cared about them less. Everyone's approach is going to be different. I'm personally someone who loves gift giving. It feels like it's part of showing you know someone really well and having that connection with another person. However, that does not mean you have to spend loads on gifts of monetary value to show that you know someone really well. We have to wonder when this shift happened that puts such a focus on comparison at Christmas. It's clear that spending is at an all-time high at Christmas, and each year we are consuming more and more, perhaps due to the convenience of being able to order something online and it appearing on our doorsteps not 24 hours later. Studies suggest that 26% of 18 to 24-year-olds consider going into debt, such as taking out personal or payday loans, due to the festive period. Jasmine Birtles, a personal finance expert and founder of Money Magpie, suggests every year people get into debt over Christmas. It's understandable given the pressure we're under to spend, 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 and the plethora of lovely things in the shops to tempt us. So I have to wonder what underlying ideals and expectations we have surrounding stuff and Christmas that means so many people are willing to go into debt over the festive period. Consumption has become synonymous with Christmas. Think of how we all wait and discuss the John Lewis advert every year. There is so much discussion of shopping and gifting that retailers themselves are a key part of Christmas. And I know personally, I still consider the Lily Allen cover of Somewhere Only We Know from the Bear in the Hair John Lewis Christmas advert as a Christmas song because I associate the song and that advert with the festive time of year. But in contrast to that, I've noticed a rise in videos coming across my For You page to do with underconsumption. This feels similarly in line with the idea of minimalism, that we should use what we buy and not buy excessively. And I have to wonder whether this is more in line with the traditional values of Christmas rather than our consumer focused modern perception of Christmas. In relation to how, across industries, modern day Christmas relates to consumption, Julia Cawele notes in Christmas, Consumerism and Mariah Carey how the holidays have been transformed. It is interesting to see how modern notions of Christmas as a time of overspending and complete indulgence in commercial products weighs up against traditional beliefs of Christmas as a season for gratitude and helping others. Part of this is noted in relation to Mariah Carey's success with the song All I Want for Christmas in the mid-90s, when typically the market for Christmas songs was not considered to be lucrative because people preferred to stick with the classic Christmas songs. So the success of this song showcases the opening of another consumer market at Christmas, being Christmas music. I mean, every year there's a big buzz about what will be Christmas number one, isn't there? In this vein, we re-encounter the success of Mariah Carey as she defrosts alongside Michael Bublé every year at Christmas. Their music and their music careers themselves are synonymous with the festive period for many people, to the point that the sound of Mariah Carey's "It's Time" feels like it marks the start of Christmas on social media. And this only further showcases how our concept of Christmas has appeared to change, and how the rise of social media means that content specific to Christmas is another facet of consumerism that largely leads to pressures around having the perfect Christmas and leads us to want to replicate what we see online. So, does that perhaps also suggest a complete turn away from traditional Christmas values towards a new consumption based Christmas? Or perhaps is this just a new generation forging their own conversations around Christmas that seems consumeristic because it is new? Whatever your views, it's clear to see that media has an influence over our consumption tendencies. The first time I noticed talk of underconsumption coming across my social media feeds, it was with the de-influencing TikToks, where people were talking about popular products that most people either didn't need or already had an alternative to. And in a world where sustainability is more of a hot button topic than ever, there is a lot of talk of ethical consumption, not just in the products we consume, but also in how many of those products we buy at any one time. I think it's safe to say that the days of massive Shein or Pretty Little Thing hauls being the popular trending thing on social media are firmly behind us now. Another example I can think of is the amount of people doing no buy years, where they don't buy anything other than their necessities for a year, or Project Pan, where people use beauty and makeup products that they have until they run out before they even think about replacing with new items. Katya Day and Vladimirova is the founder of the Sustainable Fashion Consumption Research Network. Alongside 3 colleagues, launched the Joyful Closet Consumption Challenge. This focuses on rethinking consumption patterns whilst tracking the social challenges this presents. In a 2024 article, TikTok's anti-overconsumption movement is a wake-up call for brands, with Vogue Business, Vladimirova was quoted as talking about the correlation between decreased consumption patterns, improved mental health, and positive environmental impact. What is good for the planet is also good for our mental health and our well being. If we buy less but we buy more mindfully, we are happier, and the planet is going to thank us because we don't need that much stuff. I think we're all guilty of overindulging ourselves at times. And personally, I love to shop and I love things. I associate memories with my things, and I find it quite hard to part with them because I like to hold on to these physical embodiment of memories. But I'm also someone who gets a serotonin boost by seeing a new parcel on my doorstep and unboxing it, seeing what's inside. It's like getting a little gift, even if it's one I've paid for myself. And at Christmas, I get the joy twofold because I get the excitement of a parcel arriving, but also the joy of knowing that I'm going to be gifting that to someone who will enjoy it. In light of the highlighted correlation between mindful consumption and happiness, I have to wonder if sometimes my consumption patterns are a search for fulfillment. I mean, I can admit that's been the case before. However, I also really enjoy the connection I feel I have with a person when I'm picking out a gift that I feel really speaks to the person I know them to be. For me, it's not just about consumption for consumption's sake, but seeking out that connection of gift giving as one of my love languages. But because I seek it and I get this boost from gifting, it probably does mean that I engage with shopping more than others may, and for some that would call to overconsumption. But whilst we can accept that perhaps consumerism is an issue, is Christmas really the time to fight this issue? Simon Copland for The Guardian in 2015 argued that when targeting consumerism in the name of the planet, what's actually happening is individuals and their behaviors are being targeted and demonized rather than looking at these systematic issues that perpetuate these issues surrounding sustainability. Environmental problems go much deeper than how much we buy and when. Talking endlessly about a consumer culture does nothing to solve this, blaming individuals for problems that actually lie at the level of government, big business, and the wealthy. In ignoring these issues, campaigns for a buy nothing Christmas amount to nothing more than an attack on the working class. This argument of class implications is especially important in the context of the cost of living crisis, where Christmas may be the only time that people save to be able to spend on their friends and family, or it might be their opportunity to stock up on necessities. In classic Gen Z humor, I've seen a lot of people talk about their parents asking for their wish lists and saying, I actually would really just love some money towards bills, whereas their parents want to get them some fancy gift for Christmas instead. It's that classic, no, I want something for you to unwrap at Christmas argument, you know? In that vein, I myself posted a gift guide this year that talked about buying someone their favorite and most used products instead of those gift sets that come out at Christmas, so that they don't have to worry about purchasing them right after the financial strain of the festive period. Essentially, the idea of attacking consumerism at Christmas relies on the fact that people can afford what they need year round, which creates a very 2D depiction of the economic state of the world. And I don't think we can have this discussion without talking about how we associate morality with receiving gifts at Christmas. Those who are nice receive presents, those who are naughty don't in the context of Santa. But in actuality, it's down to what parents can afford to give their children, so we are conflating punishment and reward with monetary value. That in itself holds a conversation around class and income. And as noted by Seth Rydelnik in Defense of Christmas Consumerism, a general disillusionment with materialism may lead to a call for underconsumption due to a general cynicism surrounding the marketing of Christmas. If you reject materialism, I agree. But if you do so at the expense of buying or giving anything at all, I say that looks more like Scroogeism than virtue. Consuming for the sake of consuming is unfulfilling. But just imagine the way the season would look if we embraced the rally cry of the anti-materialists. It would mean a bare floor under cold Christmas lights, or perhaps no lights at all. Nothing for kids to run downstairs for, no Christmas wish list, no brown paper packages tied up with string. I think most of us can agree that a complete turn away from consumerism at Christmas is not something we wish to engage in, because there are elements of consumerism necessary to create the Christmas magic that we love. I mean, even having Christmas lights up means purchasing the lights and spending more on an electric bill. So, with the concept of underconsumption floating around TikTok, is it time for us to reevaluate our approach to Christmas? As much as there's a call for underconsumption, there's also a call on TikTok to return to tacky Christmas in place of changing themed decor every year. However, if people have been working to a theme for years, this advocates for another trend that people would have to spend money to follow. I guess the real question is, how should we navigate conversations of consumerism at Christmas? Julia Ubbenga at Opting Out of Consumerism at Christmas suggests that focusing on acquiring more stuff is often accompanied by a sense of restlessness. We're not satisfied, so we're looking for a newer, better possession to make us happy. In this consideration, we're looking to things to bring us happiness and fulfillment. So, is it possible that we should find fulfillment elsewhere in the festive period? Now, if this were a Christmas Carol and I was Charles Dickens, I'm not. I just studied him as part of an English degree. This is when we would pan to Bob Cratchit's house, where Scrooge arrives with a feast and kindness to share with the whole family. Should we perhaps be prioritizing giving to those in need rather than gifting to each other? Or centering time spent together over a meal rather than worrying about the gifts under the tree? I know some people would say that's definitely the answer. For me, perhaps as a result of the Christmases I had growing up and the magical movies I watch every year, I don't think I could turn my back on gift giving altogether. It's such a central part of the joy I get out of Christmas. Gift giving is part of what Christmas looks like to me, and it's also part of the magic that I want to give to my kids one day. So maybe we should tone it down rather than turn our backs on gift giving altogether. Perhaps cut down on buying decorations each year and instead focusing on what we need to replace or acquiring small things each and every year to build up our collection. Interesting, back in 2012, Vicky Grinnell Wright, a sustainability consultant, wrote in Consumerism Christmas, the Sustainability Dilemma. One short stroll down any high street will verify that it is not love that is all around us, but stuff to buy. Retailers are clinging openly, vehemently, to the hopes of a surge in high street spending, and everywhere we look is encouragement to buy, wear, eat, drink, party more than we possibly could. We all know that despite finances for many people being very precarious, the message to consume is strong and influential and creates a whole wave of anxiety and pressure that for some is literally intolerable. To me, it doesn't seem like much has changed in the past 12 years since that article was written. So, what is the answer? Are we chasing a Christmas that most of us would never be able to achieve? Would we actually be happier or have a better Christmas if we had the money to have the most lavish Christmas ever year on year? Or should we focus on a turn back to kindness, togetherness, and charity that Christmas once emphasized? And if the focus was on having less presents, would that make each present more meaningful? I'm not here to demonize Christmas. Like I said, I love shopping and gift giving, gift wrapping, and decorations. But I do think at the very least we should consider how much emphasis we place on gifting at the festive period. How I'm trying to frame it, especially as I get older, is that the magic of Christmas comes from sharing time and space with the people you love and being together. And everything else is just the cherry on top. However, I can't ignore that I love gift giving. It's one of my love languages, and I intend to continue to do it as long as I am financially able to. I like to think of it more as conscious and purposeful consumerism. And that's not necessarily just consuming the necessities, but focusing on what presents I think people would really love and enjoy, even if they are a little bit of luxury. I'm not trying to chase a status symbol or replicate what I see online, but I am trying to gift things that come from a place of love, of knowing a person, and of wanting to share a piece of my life with them. Maybe that's our way forward, understanding why we consume and evaluating how that fits into our individual lives, rather than trying to tackle this as a mass problem, all the while challenging behaviors and patterns that are not conducive to our own happiness, to how our families work, or to our financial goals or circumstances. I don't know the answers, but I think everyone's family's Christmas looks different. Gifts will play a bigger role to some than others. Decorations will play a bigger role to some than others. And sometimes it is just about spending time with the people you love. Perhaps it all comes down to understanding why we love the aspects of Christmas we do and what creates magic for us and our family.